Hey everyone, this is Harlan Kilstein, and I'd like to first begin by wishing every single one of you a Happy New Year. My little puppy, Kalba, is still celebrating. She didn't get it all out when the ball dropped, and she's extending her celebration well into today and who knows how far beyond. So I just want to again wish everybody a really special new year. And the goal of this webinar is to make 2012 different. You know, every year people enter the new year filled with hopes, filled with resolutions, filled with determination to change, and yet that change becomes extremely elusive. And it's very frustrating for people. It affects people's temperament. It affects their psyche. It affects the joy that they have in life, all because they don't get what they want. Now, people begin with the best of intentions, and yet, in most cases, their intentions don't last very long. Typically, not even to the next month. Typically, very few make it past the first week. I remember that when I was in the hypnosis business, we knew that don't advertise the first week of January. Why? Because in the first week of January, everybody believes that they're going to be making their New Year's resolutions, and their New Year's resolutions are going to take hold. And by the next week, almost everybody has already broken their New Year's resolution, and it was safe to go back into the water and advertise again. So what I'd like to do is I'd like to work with you, and I'd like to help you make 2012 different than any of the years that have come before. Not just different, I want to help you make it better. So first, a little bit of housekeeping. Many of you know that I have been coming off of a case of the flu, and there is a, if you are a gambler, there is a better than even odds that you're going to hear me sneezing or coughing. I'll be very careful to try and not infect you over the computer, so back away from the computer in case you're worried. But it's also possible that I may defer to my good friend Jim Arthur, who is here on the line, because there's a pretty good chance that my voice there we go, that didn't take long. My voice is going to go out. So I'm sitting here with my puppy under my feet. I'm sitting here with hot tea in my hand. Oh, that's hot. And now we're ready because we've got an anxious group of people here. So first, number one, is I'm just amazed at the number of people who on New Year's Day took the time to join us. And what I'd like you to do now is I'd like you to type in one sentence, okay, and I'm going to take a look at that sentence. I'd like you to type in one sentence what you'd like to change this year. Now, I'm not going to mention anybody's names or anything like that, but I would like you to go ahead and type in what you would like to change this year. Okay, I'm not going to mention any names.
I have financial, I have money, habits, reach my potential, greater income, taking action, curation, procrastination, getting stuck, wants to quit your job, better motivation, less TV, relationships, health, money, attitude. Where do I type? I have more freedom, more action. My goodness, I can't keep up. Increased focus, completing goals, employment, restless thoughts during meditation, grow your business, make lots of money, blessing others, more concise focus on goals, more freedom, more love, money, freedom, and travel, change my mindset, profit margins, timely basis, finishing projects, curb interruptions, quit my major client, increase my copywriting revenue,
Can I
step
get you to
back,
speak up a little bit, Jim?
make all the calls I need, monetizing marketing efforts, get busy and move rapidly into the year, have more leads and more prospects, save my home, that's poignant, get out of my comfort zone, stop procrastinating, change my unwillingness to go ahead, change my energy, be more positive. My goodness, they're just scrolling by so fast. Get ahead. Wow.
So we're seeing change come in a lot of different areas. And even though I've asked you that question, I pretty much had a really good idea what those were going to be. And the reason that I have an idea is because those are the things that people want to change year in, year out, but those are the things that typically do not change. Now, I'm not trying to pour water on your hopes, not at all. Nor am I saying that you're not going to get those things. But what I am going to point out to you is that most likely the things that you want to change this year are things that you've wanted to change in the past. If what you want to change this year is what you wanted to change in the past, please type in the word yes or it's the same or same. And tell me what you see, Jim.
I see yeses pouring in at least 50, 75. Yes, it's been the same. Oh, Sabe.
Jim, I've got to get you to speak
yes.
up because I can't hear
I'll
you.
speak up. Yes, it's the same. Yes, some of it has changed. Yes, exactly. Yes, with difference. Very close. A few no's, but very much, I'd say there are 200 or 300 yeses here already, Harlan.
Okay, so that's fantastic. And people typing in same, yes, yeah, I saw that. So the goal of this webinar is to help you understand why people who are determined to change rarely do. Okay, I want to repeat that. People who are determined to change rarely do. Next, to help you understand why you failed at making changes in the past. And number 3, to help you start off 2012 correctly. And my ultimate goal is to help you build long-term success in every aspect of your life. Now, when I wrote to you, I told you that this is a no-pitch webinar. And that is, there's absolutely nothing that is going to be sold. But there is going to be a pitch. And the pitch is going to be that you agree to work on changing you. That's the pitch. And if you think that's fair, then type in that's fair or I'm in or let's go. But that's the goal of this webinar, is helping you make significant changes of your choice in this year. And if you're ready, let me know.
Oh, these guys are ready, Harlan. There's just rocket. Let's get going. Agreed. It's a plan. I'm so ready. Biblical mandate. It's a deal. Let's go. Let's roll. Yes, everybody's with you, Harlan.
It's a biblical mandate? Okay. Well, we have 2 conflicting things going on here. Number 1, my desire to go to the next slide, and number 2, my need to sneeze. So we'll see which one comes first. Okay. Note to self. I know it's very exciting to do a webinar on January 1st, but maybe you should have recovered from the flu first. Good idea. Okay. So Oh, now what happened to my slide here? There we go. 5 things people want to change. On the left-hand side, people want to lose weight. People want to stop smoking. People want to improve their finances. People want to improve their relationships. And people want to improve their overall happiness. So when people say things like, they want to change their job, well, we're going to put that in either improve their finances or improve their happiness. But those are the 5 things and the categories where people want to change. Now, I put stop smoking, but it could be that people have other health changes. But these are the big ones. Now, today, my son got some um, cards from Barnes& and Noble for Hanukkah, and he said to me, hey, I got all these gift cards. I'd like to go spend some money. And I said, great, we'll be at, let's go to Barnes& and Noble. And I went to Barnes& and Noble, and you walk in the door, and the first thing that you see when you walk in the door is a huge table filled with weight loss books, and people were all over them. Now, it is January 1st, and the table was ready. And if you go to Barnes & Noble any year, the table is ready. Many of the books are the same that were there, and many of the buyers are the same that were there. And these are the same things year after year, and it's the same people year after year. People begin the year saying, this is going to be my year, I'm going to do it, but most don't last the week. Now, here's a very sad statistic. Not everybody makes resolutions, but of the people who do make resolutions, just 12% of the people who make resolutions actually get them. And we're going to understand why that's the case, but more importantly, we're going to understand what to do about them. Now, I know that there are a lot of people who are saying, oh, I know all of this stuff. I know all this stuff. I'm an expert at this. And, of course, my question to you is, well, then obviously you have to change. Now, these 5 things that people want to change can really be anything. Anything that you want to change about your life fits into one of these categories. You may want to improve your tennis game. You may want to take more vacations. Whatever it is, you can use the information that we're going to share with you tonight to help you change. So, why do resolutions fail? Well, the first reason that resolutions fail, and this is definitely not your fault, is that people want it now. We live in the instant generation. There's instant coffee. There's instant tea. You just add hot or cold water. It already comes with lemon and sugar in it. Everything is instant. And so people want instant success. Plus, people resolve things that they don't really want. We're going to use a term that my teacher, Dr. Dave Dobson, talked about. People are incongruent. They say that they want something, but it's not something that they really want. Part of them may want it and part of them don't. People expect, and people have been trained, that change can come to them instantly. And they are shocked and surprised when it doesn't happen. Certainly advertising makes people think it's the norm. People believe that they can lose 50 pounds in a month, 50 pounds of weight in a month. People believe that they can develop a 100-mile-an-hour tennis swing overnight. And that's what people have been led to expect. Just go on to some of the internet marketing forums and you will see outrageous promises, make 4 figures in 4 days. And when that doesn't happen, people blame themselves. So because people see all of these things that people are claiming, all of the advertisements, people place incredible demands upon themselves that can't possibly be achieved. And if they spoke to someone who was an expert in the field, the expert would tell them it's not possible. But they prefer not to hear this because of the long lingering belief of, I want this now, I want this immediately. So our method of dealing with failure, and when I say our method, I'm talking about people in general, the public in general, is not to examine how we are or what we are doing to get our particular goals, but to give up or to turn around and then say, oh, I don't want that, like the fox and the grapes. And this, unfortunately, is becoming the norm. So here's an example. Sarah's goal is to lose 40 pounds in 2 months. She thinks this is a reasonable goal. 40 pounds in 2 months would make that 5 pounds a week, or, if she parties on weekends, she could lose just £1 pound a day, and she should have that in 2 months. But practically, if you speak to anyone who has any experience in weight loss, if you speak to someone who is a physician, or you speak to someone who is a nutritionist, they will tell you that the only way that you are going to lose 40 pounds in 2 months is if you amputate one of your legs. Practically, no one is ever going to do that. But even though Sarah has tried to lose weight before, and even though she's practically never gotten beyond that initial 5 pounds, which she always puts back on, she goes through the same thing year after year. And as soon as she misses her first goal, which is a 5 pound week, it's pretty much all over. And she doesn't make it into the second month. She doesn't make it past the first week. Reason here is that the goals and expectations that she has set for herself, which are encouraged by the weight loss marketers, they are impossible for anyone to achieve. Now, she may want to repeat this at the start of the swimsuit season, but then she'll be so desperate she'll want to lose all 40 pounds in a month. And her expectation will be 2 pounds a day. And we all know that that's not going to happen. She would have to amputate both legs to get that. And the bottom line here is Sarah is being misled by all of the advertisements. Pick up the news papers, go on television, and you'll see countless ads claiming that this is possible, when in fact, practically, it's not possible. And so, because people fail to live up to unreasonable expectations, they give up. So why else do resolutions fail? Because people just want it to happen. People do not make a realistic or a concrete plan. And we're going to discuss this. People ignore their emotional selves. Now, this is going to be a very, very important part of what we're talking about right here. And that is, they do not ask themselves the question before setting out on the journey. And the most important question, and we're going to go into this in a little more detail, is what's important to me. What's important to me about? What's important to me about having a faster tennis serve? What's important to me about changing my job? What is important to me about losing that weight and dealing with the answer that comes up? So let's pretend it's weight. What's important to me about losing weight? And the answer is, well, I want to look better in swimsuit season. Okay. I'm not here to judge or comment on someone's reasons. I want to look better. Nothing wrong with that at all. But it didn't work last year. And you probably had the same goal. So why isn't that enough? Let's set that question aside for right now. Here's a quote from Tony Robbins, who, of course, is a master of helping people change. The truth of the matter is that there's nothing you can't accomplish if there are 4 steps. You clearly decide what it is that you're absolutely committed to achieving. Number 2, you're willing to take massive action. Number 3, you notice what's working or not, and you continue to change your approach until you achieve what you want using whatever life gives you along the way. Here, just by examining these steps, we find what sets the winners apart from the people who don't succeed. Number 1, you clearly decide what it is that you're absolutely committed to achieving. And some people think that what they want is to lose weight. But what they really want is what the weight loss is going to bring them. They focus in the wrong direction. They focus on an intermediate step. They don't focus on their ultimate goal because they don't know what their ultimate goal is. You're willing to take massive action. Well, most people believe that they are willing to take massive action until it gets in their way, until they have to do something that's a little bit different. So people say, you know what, this year I'm going to save money and I'm not going to go to Starbucks. Instead, I'm going to make my own coffee. I'm going to drink the coffee that they have in the office. I'm going to prepare my own mug and take it in the car, and I'm not going to stop at the drive-thru. And they're going to add up how much money that they're going to save until the week goes by and it doesn't happen. It stops because people aren't willing to take that kind of action. People are willing to take massive action only in as much as it doesn't interfere with their lifestyle. So the bottom line here is, unless you're willing to take massive action, you're probably not going to change. Next, just because you set out committed to making a change and you agreed to make a change, you have to notice whether it's working or not. You know, and we're going to talk about this later when we review the rules of mastery, which we've discussed in the past. Sometimes things work for a period of time, but then they stop working and you come to a plateau. And that's when most people give up. You have to change your approach until you achieve what you want using whatever life gives you along the way. And this means that we don't give up. We continue. And what we're going to do and what we're going to discover as we continue through this call is how to make sure that we stick to our plans no matter what. And I'm going to give you some practical steps, and I'm going to encourage you right on this call to take specific steps so that you can make 2012 your best year ever by changing. Now, here I have a quote, but that's not the author of the quote. The quote that I had in mind is a quote that is attributed to Einstein. It's not clear that he said it, but the quote that's attributed to Einstein is, the definition of insanity is doing something over and over again, thinking that this time somehow something is going to be different, and it's not different. So what I would like to suggest to you this year is that the secret of success that we're talking about is taking baby steps. Now, I have to tell you that taking baby steps is completely against what most people want. Most people do not want to take baby steps. Just think about when you watch someone learning how to play the piano. If you sit down with a little girl and she has piano lessons, she'll play the scales day after day because she knows that by playing the scales, she is learning to play the piano. And then after a couple of weeks, she'll get a little piece where she can demonstrate her mastery and maybe play a song that someone recognizes, but she's content to do that again and again and again. Not so the adult. The adult sits down at the piano, learns where the keys are, and then immediately wants to play Beethoven. And if not Beethoven, they want to rock out some, they think that they're the next Elton John. Because people don't want to take those baby steps. They want to go all the way to the head of the class. So what baby steps could you take? Many years ago, the famed economist Milton Friedman visited Israel. And when he visited Israel, Israel has a 6-day work week. And everywhere he went, people asked him, well, Professor Friedman, do you think that we should move to a 5-day work week? Is that what you would like to see? And at the end of his tour of Israel, he gathered together with the leaders of Israel's economy in a meeting, and he said, everywhere I went, people asked me, Professor Friedman, should we move Israel to a 5-day work week? And Professor Friedman said, actually, seeing the way your economy works and how little actually gets done, I'd like to see you work 1 day a week, and then we can increase it to 2 days a week, and we could build up towards 5. Because right now, I'm not seeing a single work day. He wanted people to take baby steps. They wanted to take gigantic steps. Now, January is gym membership month. January is the month when there are no discounts at joining gyms. There don't need to be discounts at joining gyms. Discounts are for the entire rest of the year. But in January, there is a line of people ready to go in the door and hit the gym. And people make resolutions that I'm going to go to the gym every day for an hour. Practically, it doesn't happen. And so, by the end of January, something like 90% of the people who joined in January are no longer going to the gym. Not only every day, but not even once a week. Not even once a month. They're gone. Of course, if everybody who had a gym membership showed up on any particular day at a gym, the gym would be forced to close because it can't handle the capacity of all the people who are members. In fact, if not for this situation, gyms could not exist as a business. They know that people are going to drop out. And the reason here is that going to a gym every day for an hour is not a baby step. And so it becomes an unrealistic thing. Now, I know a lot of people are saying, wait a minute, Harlan, you're being pessimistic. And the answer is, no, I'm not being pessimistic. I'm being realistic. And I'm being realistic because I know from experience of working with people that people want too big a change and they can't take the baby steps. So right now, if you're thinking of weight loss, or you're thinking of going to a gym, or you're thinking of starting an exercise program, type in your ideas of what some baby steps you could do instead. What would you like to do instead of going and working on weight machines, which you may not enjoy? What do you really enjoy? Do you enjoy riding on a bicycle by the ocean? If you're like me, you're lucky enough to live near the ocean. Is that something that you really enjoy? Would you like going out to a park and riding a bike? Do you like dancing? Would you like to go out dancing once a week? What if you did that and committed to doing that instead of going to the gym every day and working on equipment you don't really like? What if you say, well, this year is going to be my year for my my abs. I'm going to have the abs of my dreams this year, and I'm going to do 100 sit-ups a day. Well, you resolve you're going to do 100 sit-ups a day. Maybe you even do them the first day. Well, if you haven't been doing sit-ups, what if you did just one today and you really liked it? And what if you did another one tomorrow? What if instead of going to the gym every day for an hour, you went out to a park and you took a walk for 10 minutes and really enjoyed it? And when I say really enjoying it, it's your enjoyment of it that's absolutely crucial, because your enjoyment of it is what's going to be your guarantee and your promise that you're going to do more of it. Change things up. Let's not do things the way they've always been done. Jim, what are people typing in?
I'm getting all kinds of long walks, salsa dancing, making healthier choices. I would say 75% of the people are clearly taking small chunks, and quite a few are still looking at some pretty big chunks, like 30 minutes on the beach every day. You know, a lot of people are still not going tiny yet.
Okay, so
but let me make one point here. Someone asked, what about Anthony Robbins' take massive action point? What would you say to that?
well, I'm saying that this is your massive action, because this is your massive action that's going to continue. As someone pointed out to me, actually, I think it was you, Jim, there are a lot of people there are more people who have trained with Tony Robbins than probably anyone else in history. I mean, with in terms of the personal trainings and in terms of being on courses with him and so forth, I would say that Tony is probably up there as one.
Unquestionably number one worldwide.
Okay.
No question about it.
And yet, there are so many people who may have changed during a program. They may have done a fire walk, or they may have gone through personal power 1, personal power 2, or any of the things, but the changes didn't stick. And my suggestion is that massive action, if it worked for you in the past, fantastic. But if it hadn't worked for you in the past, if you took massive action and massive action didn't get you what you needed, then perhaps it's time to take another approach. Now, the people who are saying, I'm going to do an hour here and I'm going to do an hour there, you know, and this time I mean it, well, unfortunately, I think that if we checked in with them next week, um, experience tells me that they're not going to be doing what they claimed. And not because they're bad people, it's just that their definition of what it takes is, is not, it's not going to make them get them their goal. Further thoughts of what people are saying, Jim?
Some people are saying I love small. Some people are saying I love small steps. We're getting lots of comments about how wonderful Tony Robbins is. I have someone talking about Kaizen, continuous small approvals. Yes, I would say you're getting 90% approval here, Harlan.
Okay, and 10% are going to do the same things the same way. So, Jim, we're going to go through a method now that some people use, and this is more your expertise than mine. So how about you take over from this point, and then I'll jump in.
Hi, everybody. So I'm going to talk now about vision boarding and making a visual representation, which is easy to do, putting pictures of your goals up, pictures of your imagination. Now, this is not about small steps of action. This is about inspiring your mind. And Harlan didn't know that we didn't put this presentation together, but we're both quoting Einstein. And Einstein says, your imagination is your preview of life's coming attractions. And you can see an example of someone's vision board here. They're going to take lots of pictures. Obviously, weight loss is in some of the photos ahead, ideas and such. May I have the next slide, please, Harlan? And so let's talk a little bit about vision boards. When you use visual actions, and we're talking about taking images and pictures from magazines, from the internet, printed out. If you create visual images of the future, it helps with motivation, it helps persistence through the bumps and the curves on the road. It'll give you energy and action. And this all comes from putting your goals and your big dreams up where you can see them to remind yourself on a regular basis. Thank you, Harlan. Your brain is stimulated by desired images in different parts of your brain. Someone asked, how do you create a vision board if your business is selling intangibles? The vision board is about what your business gets and what you get. And the goals and satisfactions, if they're intangible, can certainly be represented metaphorically. And we'll talk about that in more detail. Another slide, another click there, please, Harlan. And it's nice to have a regular reminder right out there in front of you. So I encourage you, if you put your goals somewhere where you can see them, or put your vision, images and pictures, that will be very powerful, and there's a cumulative effect of reminding yourself every day for a day and another day and then a week and a month and a year. And sometimes some of the big goals take time to achieve. Another slide, please, Harlan. And I believe that the way that goals and creating things and creating a life works is your conscious mind sets the goal, and your unconscious mind, all your memories, your experiences, all the things that you know and done, all the people who have supported you, all are in your conscious mind. And your unconscious mind is, in my opinion, the most powerful goal-seeking machine in the universe. But what are you telling yourself on a regular basis? What are you saying in your mind, and what images and pictures are you making in these fearful times? A vision board can help you with that. If you watch television, if you have other images put in your mind, let's start putting in your goals, not the goals of the pharmaceutical companies and the car companies. Let's put your goals in your mind for a while. Another click, please, Harlan.
So my question is that, number one, all of the visions have to be desired images. There's no what we call away from images.
Absolutely. Put images out of what you want. So if you want to lose weight, put images of a beautiful flat belly. If you want more money, put images of the goals which money will give you: more philanthropy, more generosity, more material goods, more freedom, more safety. And you can represent intangibles with visual images much better than just a word says freedom. What does that mean? But if you have several images up there of what you desire, and Harlan makes a very good point, we recommend strongly that you concentrate on what you want, not what you don't want in general, especially for this part, for a vision board. And another click, please, Harlan. And most importantly, your vision board keeps your vision in your mind. We are all busy. We have family and friends and work and social obligations and personal obligations. And if you don't keep track of where you're going in the big picture, not only will, as Yogi Berra says, you might wind up somewhere else, I guarantee you, you will wind up somewhere else. Another slide, we'll talk more about vision boards. Okay, so why is putting visual images up in front of you? And I'll give you some examples in the next slide, so you'll get some picture of this. But if you put lots of beautiful visions up there, you chose them. You created the beautiful images, and those are yours. Another click, please, Harlan. A vision board helps keep you accountable. It reminds you. You walk by these beautiful visions of the future on your way to having too much peanut butter in the night, and this will help you. Another click, please, Harlan. When you make a vision board, you stimulate your unconscious mind, and you'll get insights about yourself as you go through pictures. What do I really want? What attracts me? What doesn't? There's insights. And especially as you look at it, some images over the next weeks and months will become more and more appealing, and some will say, I don't think so. So you really learn about yourself making a vision board. And another click, please, Harlan. The very act of creating a vision is so important. Do you create things? Do you make things real? Hold it in your hand. Cut out the pictures out of a magazine. Creation gives motivation, but also your hand is on it, and the act of creation is somehow very magical too. It's personal and magical. Another click, please, Harlan. And of course, daily reminders visually keep you focused. It helps you bring back to work instead of distracting off into some other shiny, pretty object. And it makes it easier to know, am I getting closer to my X, Y, Z in my vision board? And another click, please, Harlan. And how often do you really admit to yourself your dreams and goals? How often do you really get in touch with what you really want? A vision board, something there where you see it regularly, helps to validate your dreams and goals. It makes them more real. There they are. And I think if you're like most of us, one often doesn't get validation of what's your big dream, what's your big goal. So we're not talking about the small steps of action previously, but now, what are your dreams? What are you looking for? And one more click, please, Harlan. And most importantly, in some ways, remember I said that your conscious mind sets the goal, and boom, your unconscious mind starts to achieve it. Making metaphorical abstractions, beautiful images, gives your unconscious mind room to play, and you'll find things turn out magically in different ways than once you thought. One more click, please, Harlan. We talked, and Harlan very wisely talked about keeping it totally positive. Keeping positive images in your mind are so much better than the images of the news and fear and Europe and finances and unemployment. And there's a place for reality, but there's also a place to just purely be energetic and have your own positive feelings and thoughts. One more click, please, Harlan. Okay, here's all kinds of different ways to look at vision boards. There you can see up in the top left-hand corner a nice little frame with a whole bunch of pictures stuck up. In the top right-hand corner, there's all the different images that appeal to this particular woman who really, her big feeling for the year is to dream. And there's many different ways to do it. And my friend Helen Marie has been teaching Dreaming Board for a long time, but you can find your own creative way. And if you look at the bottom, here's someone who just has 4 big words and some beautiful evocative images to help go on. So I encourage you to create a vision board. And if you want more information on vision boards later on, please write in the comments here and let us know what you'd like to know. But you can do this. You can do this. So leave me a comment if you'd like to know more about vision boards. And you go ahead, Harlan. What were you going to say?
Well, I was going to say that a lot of people have heard of vision boards. Vision boarding was actually mentioned very strongly in The Secret, but a lot of people who have made vision boards haven't actually gotten anywhere with their vision boards, and that's something that we're going to be exploring in the future, how to make sure that your vision board, that your vision becomes your reality. Simply putting it on paper is a step that's going to affect your subconscious mind, but your vision needs to become integrated with your actions in order for you to have the biggest chance of success. Now, there are a number of books that are excellent in terms of helping people achieve personal change. I've already done a webinar, and we'll be posting where you can find that on the book Mastery. But at the same time that I discovered the book Mastery, Jim was telling me about a book put out by a great teacher and someone who Jim has personally studied with, Don Miguel Ruiz, and the 4 Agreements. Jim, what are the 4 Agreements?
First of all, let me tell you that this is my 2nd favorite book of all time. And that when I was a bookseller back in 1999, I was just leaving the book business and moving somewhere else when I met my friend Dr. Kilstein, and I recommended these 2 books, 4 Agreements and Mastery. But let's look at the 4 Agreements. May I have one more click, please? The first and most important, and for me difficult, and this is personally my story, is be impeccable with your word. When you say something, you mean it. And now I'd like you, everyone listening here, to think about who is the most important person who should believe what you say. Should it be your spouse or your kids? Type in what you think. Who is Aaron's got it, Leela's got it, Leonore, Jenny. You guys all got it. The point of being impeccable with your word. Wow, Harlan, there's 400 people just wrote the right answer. When you're impeccable with your word, you become to believe yourself. When you say, man, I am going to go for a walk 10 minutes briskly around the neighborhood every morning. That's exactly right. Everybody got it. And it is a struggle, you bet. But one of the goals is to become stronger and more truthful with what you say. Back in the 90s, when I was really into this, I had a wristwatch. Of course, now everybody has it on their phone, but on my wristwatch, I had a little sticker that said, keep your word. And it is a real challenge, but it's a process. And remember, it's baby steps. You really, really do want to become impeccable with your word. And this book that we're recommending goes into it in some distance. And the reason I love this book so much is because it's very, very simple. It just gives you 4 simple rules. Be impeccable with your word is the first and, in my opinion, the hardest, but each person will find different ones hardest. Would you click me another button, please, Harlan? Because now I want to talk about not taking things personally. How many of you have had conflict in the month of December? December is a month of love and connection, but it's also a month where emotions runs high. And this Toltec Native American wisdom, this wisdom of the ancient people from central Mexico of 1,000 to 1,200 years ago, 1,500 years ago, they gave this wisdom to us, and they said, don't take things personally. So when your family has a fight, when your boss comes and really chews you out, when you get a ticket and the policeman will just not let you talk your way out of it, the point is, don't take it personally. The point is that much of the conflict, much of the interpersonal challenges that we face come from the other person having their own issues. And the more you can rise up and see things for what they are without taking on guilt or blame or anger. How many of you, when somebody cuts you off on the street, really get offended? You'll honk your horn, you'll wave your hands at the guy, right? And you'll take it personally. But I assure you, that person who cut you off, he doesn't know anything about you. It's not personal. So the first of the 4 agreements is to be impeccable with your word. The second is don't take anything personally. And if you give me a little click, Harlan, I will talk about making assumptions. Once again, this is a relationship-based agreement in general, and that is often we make assumptions about what's going on, and there are many classic teaching stories from all the different traditions about bad things happens, but when you live through it, another better thing happens. How many of you have had a small setback in your life that really disturbed you at the time, but later on that setback was actually a good thing, and you caused yourself unnecessary worry and struggle? So making assumptions means trying to be as clear. I got one says, I'm having one right now. Yes, of course, all you people who said you have, of course we all have. We make assumptions. And that's the beauty of this 4 Agreements book, is that with 4 easy, simple agreements, you can actually move forward and make your life better. And of course, the 4th one, if you'd click, Harlan, is about always trying to do your best. And this one, for most people, I think, isn't such a big challenge as the first 3, but it's about the always and trying to do your best when you feel bad. My friend Dr. Harlan is a real wonderful example of this. He's really sick, folks, and he's still out here doing his best to connect with his friends, to help people, to do all the things that he's doing here. So I suggest to you that if you are interested in making this year better, I recommend to you the 4 Agreements. Be impeccable with your word. Thank you. And these are my 2 favorite books. And I actually had the blessing of recommending Mastery to Harlan back in 1998, and he took it to it like a fish to water. So either of these 2 books are absolutely spectacular, and I recommend that you keep, and there's another thing, they both keep it simple, that you will not be overwhelmed. There will just be simple little steps to take. Not easy, but simple, straightforward, and ahead. And now I'm going to turn back over to my friend Harlan. And thank you, folks. If you've read the books, I suggest do it again and go a little deeper. Go ahead, Harlan.
Fantastic. So I want to review with you, since Jim mentioned Mastery, I want to review the learning styles, the change styles that are found in the book Mastery. So this year, let's avoid the dabbler. The dabbler is the person who sticks their toe in the water, stirs things about a bit, begins to notice some change, And when the change begins to level off, okay, the change is over, we're leaving. Then, after some period of time, some undetermined interval, they start all over again, and they start to make some change. And when they make their change, they start to notice something, and pretty soon they're done. And that repeats again and again. But they never do get their goal because they're busy dabbling. They're not busy changing. This year, let's avoid the obsessive. The obsessive is what I've been focused most about on this call. The person who says, I'm going to go in there and I want to lose weight and I'm going to do an hour a day in the gym, and I don't care that Harlan's talking about small steps. Tony Robbins told me to take massive action, so I'm going to do an hour a day. And they start doing an hour a day, and the hour a day, they do okay. They don't do, oh, you know what, I'm going to do a new diet. I'm going to do HGH, and I'm going to do HGH frontward and backward, and I'm going to do like 200 calories a day, and I'm going to ramp it up to 2 hours a day in the gym, and eventually they just self-destruct. This year, let's avoid the hacker. This is the person who starts to make some changes. They start to see some progress. They make some more changes, and then they're done. No more changes. I'm done. I've done everything that I can to change. I'm not going to do anything else. And so they stay right where they are for the rest of their lives. You see, this is what people want, and they actually logically begin to calculate. Well, if I've made this change in this period of time, I should be able to be so much further in another month or 2 months, because they believe that change is linear, and it's not. Real change looks like this, and this is the mastery curve. And I recommend, we will post for you, once again, the webinar that I did about mastery. It's on YouTube, and it's well worth watching. We have lots and lots of people on that, and well worth it. It's a timeless, timeless thing. It's about you becoming the master. So I have some concrete steps that I'd like you to take. And here they are. Number one, I'd like you to ask yourself the question out loud: what's important to me about XYZ change? And of course, XYZ is whatever you want to change. Ask yourself, is there anything negative that can happen if I don't make this change? So for example, let's say the change is to stop smoking. Ask yourself the question, what's important to me about stopping smoking? And listen to what you come up with. Ask yourself, is there anything negative that can happen if I don't make this change? Well, if I don't stop smoking, is there anything negative that can happen? Then ask yourself, is there anything negative that can happen if I do make this change? But ask yourself these questions out loud. Once you've taken these steps out loud, I want you to go public with your change, and I want you to join me on http://facebook.com/mastery learning. You'll see a picture of the mastery book. You're in the right place. And go public with what you'd like to change. Let's make our change public. And when you make your change public, an amazing thing is going to happen. And this is my goal. You're going to connect with an accountability buddy there. Stop working with somebody in your office who's been trying to lose the same 40 pounds for the last couple of years. No, it's time to make a change, and it's time to work with someone new. And working with someone that you can meet through this call, through Facebook, is perhaps a different way. Let's do things differently this year. Connect with someone there. You can message one another through Facebook, and depending on your own level of comfort over time, you can exchange email or phone. That's entirely up to you, or it's perfectly fine and perfectly safe to keep it right on Facebook. And go back and forth, become an accountability buddy. Find out what the small steps they want to do and report back to one another. It can be on a daily basis. It could be on, in other words, if let's say your change that you'd like to make is you'd like to eliminate sugar from your diet 6 out of 7 days of the week. Okay, well, report back to your accountability buddy every day. When you have somebody that you have to hold yourself accountable to, and they are holding themselves accountable to you, you will find that your change becomes more enduring. Focus on the single steps. Focus on the baby steps. And go. So the number one thing that I want you to do is I want you to go public with what you'd like to change. And the second thing that I'd like you to do is I'd like you to find an accountability buddy right there on the Mastery Learning change. Whatever it is you want to change, I assure you that there's someone on this call who wants to make the same change. What happens if you find more than one accountability buddy? Fantastic. Even better. But right now, tonight, I encourage you to come onto Facebook, onto Mastery Learning, and you'll see that I'm going to be there shortly. And Jim, will you be there shortly saying something that you'd like to change?
I will be there very shortly. Yes, I will.
Okay. And let's all begin the new year helping one another change. Come by the Mastery Learning for inspirational quotes. Come by Mastery Learning for strategies, for recommendations of books that you can read that will help you change. And if you've got a book that you think is good, by all means, share it with us. And by the way, and if you're an author of a book on change, by all means, let us know, because we want to do as much as possible to help as many people as possible make 2012 their best year ever. So it's just an hour. I'd love to stay on and talk and take more questions. Maybe we'll go to questions one more time, but my health is, let's go to questions, Jim, and see what's coming in.
Okay, folks, type in questions, and we'll take 3 or 4 there. But we're pretty well over. Poor old Harlan wants to take part of it. Joanne Covington says, "Is this first program of the 101 with Jim?" Jane, no. This is purely about supporting each other on Facebook. I get lots of well wishes for Harlan. Be well, get healthy, heal fast, and.
Are you looking at more? Okay. Jim has fallen off my screen. Folks, I'd like to thank you all for attending, and we will see you on Facebook.com, Mastery Learning. Like us, and we'll work together at helping each other change. Happy New Year, everyone. Have a great, wonderful New Year.